Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Eduardo Flores, and this is Text and Criticism. The other day, I published an interview with Dr. Wilbur Pickering. He was talking about how the most ancient manuscripts we have are the worst in quality. What's the work of a scribe? The work of a scribe is to copy the text. If the scribe commits a lot of mistakes, then he's not doing his work very well. Okay. If you have a document with a lot of mistakes and you try to read it out loud in public, you won't be able to do that easily. So obviously manuscripts with a lot of mistakes, they were not used for public office, for public use. Now, I'm going to show you some numbers, and I hope this can support the idea that the most ancient manuscripts are the worst manuscripts, and why we are telling you this, which is basically because they are full of mistakes. Okay, so we are going to review an article of 1965 by E.C. Colwell, uh, where he publishes his analysis of of three papyri, uh, papyrus 66, 75, and 45. I'm not sure if it's 45 or 46. We're going to get there. Okay, so welcome. You don't forget to give us like, share, and comment. Okay. Also, itacisms and singular readings in Papyri per Colwell. Itacisms, right. Yeah, it's Papyrus 45. Why so many mistakes? We're going to see the opinion of E.C. Colwell and why we say that ancient is worst. So there's the quote, there's the article. You may buy this from in the internet. Okay, so first, he speaks about Papyrus 66, which is 3rd century early. Here we have the text of the four Gospels, and I counted how many verses does Papyrus 66 have, and it has around 814 verses, which is 92% of John. Colwell counts in that space of text 400 itacisms, which is a mistake, plus 482 singular readings, meaning readings that are not found in other Greek manuscripts, of which 40% are nonsensical, o sea, they don't make sense. This 40% is is of the singular readings, not of the itacisms, is of the singular readings, which means that Papyrus 66 introduced a lot of of readings that did not make sense. See? Okay, so if we sum 400 itacisms plus 482 singulars, it's 882 mistakes, clear mistakes that come from the scribe of Papyrus 66. Now let's see Papyrus 75. Papyrus 75 is very famous. It's 3rd century early. And if we take into account how much text does it have, it has a Luke 68% of Luke. This per percentage is mine, and the count of verses is mine also, not Colwell's. Luke 68% and John 71%. So graphically, you can see there in the orange color, which is around 1,409 verses. In this space of text, E.C. Colwell found 145 itacisms plus 247 singulars. 25% of the singular readings are nonsensical. Now, he does a better work than the scribe of Papyrus 666. And Dr. Pickering says that by the type of mistakes the scribe of Papyrus 75 made, you can say that he was copying letter by letter. And Papyrus 66, the scribe was copying syllable by syllable, by the type of mistakes they do. So if we sum 145 plus 247, it's 402 mistakes. Now we go to Papyrus 45, which has a little bit of text of all the 4 Gospels. It's a papyrus that's from the 3rd century. It has partially the Gospels and Acts. So I counted is 749 verses. In these 749 verses, the scribe of Papyrus 45 introduces or commits 90 itacisms, 275 singulars, 10% of which are nonsensical. So each time he is introducing a new form, a new variant, it's a variant that makes sense. So he did know Greek and he did know what he was doing. And it's if we sum the 90 itacisms plus the 275 singulars, it gets us to 365 mistakes. So here we have the table, itacisms. Sorry, that itacisms plus singular readings in P45, P75, and P66 per Colwell. The total amount of mistakes of itacisms and singular readings introduced by these 3 scribes is 1,649. Okay. Now, so if we make a basic math and we divide the amount of mistakes divided by the amount of verses, we're going to get how many mistakes per verse, right? So here we have around 1 mistake per verse. That's a lot. I mean, imagine you are copying something and each sentence you make a mistake. He was not doing a good job. P75, it's around 1 mistake each 3.5 verses. And P45 is 365 divided by 749. It's around 1 mistake each 2 verses. So they commit a lot of mistakes. And if we see a table here, they commit in the space of 2,972 verses, they commit 1,649. So it's around one mistake each 2 verses in average. Now let's see what Ernest Cadman Colwell says about these singular readings. Why singular readings? We begin then with the most difficult question of why. Why did the scribes of these papyri create this mass of singular readings? The first reason is their lack of ability to spell. The spelling in certain restricted areas is regularly irregular. Scholars have long known that one cause of corruption is the spelling habits of the individual scribe. This show up clearly in his singular readings, where the interchange of similar sounds in diverse spellings is frequent. The 3 early papyri studied here underline the insignificance of variant readings of this type. These itacistic spellings are numerous, and he goes on speaking about that. He also says in page, what's the page? 378. On this last and most important matters, our 3 scribes are widely divided. P75 and P45 seriously intend to produce a good copy. But it is hard to believe that this was the intention of P66. Nearly 200 nonsense readings and the 400 itacistic spellings in P66 are evidence of something less than a disciplined attention to the basic task. To this evidence of carelessness must be added those singular readings whose origins baffles speculation. And then he speaks more and more and more. Now, I would like to quote this article by Georgy Parlupov named KR in the Gospels. And here he talks about family 35, about the manuscripts of family 35, which whose name in the academic circles is also KR. So in this part of the article, he says the exceptionally I'm sorry, the exceptionally high level of textual coherence, which we already know because of the videos I'm trying to show you guys that this is the most internal textual coherent family group of manuscripts cluster. Back to Parlupov, the exceptionally high level of textual coherence shows that KR codices were copied with great care. Now, Dr. Pickering and I, we repeat this, but we apply this not only to the 14th century, but to all the copies before one manuscript of family 35. Every scribe, it could be 5, 15, 20 scribes in 1400 centuries, every scribe was very careful. This is not what Parlupov is saying here. He's just watching, looking at the manuscripts, and since he believes it's 13th or 14th century, so he's just looking a supposedly 13th, 14th century text. Okay, so he speaks the truth. Shows that KR codices were copied with great care. Okay, in terms of overall quality, they clearly represent the upper range of Byzantine book production. Itacism spelling errors hardly ever occur in them. And then he speaks more about certain other characteristics. At least 48 are decorated with evangelist portraits. I don't know why that's important. And a full 143 of them are unparchment, on parchment. And then he explains why that's important. Okay, so but it's clear that if you compare the amount of mistakes, whether it be itacisms or singular readings introduced by the scribes of P66, P75, and P45 versus those introduced by the scribes of family 35, KR, they are it's not comparable. It's not comparable. You know, you can take a page of a manuscript of family 35 and there's no itacisms. You turn it around and there's no itacisms. You go to the next page, there's no itacism. You go to the next page, there's no itacisms. The best family 45 manuscripts commit a mistake each 5 or 6 pages versus the average Alexandrian manuscript. We're talking about these 3 codices plus Papyrus 46, Papyrus 72, Sinaiticus and Vaticanus. These Alexandrine manuscripts commit from 15 to 20 mistakes per page, which is outstandingly bad, you know, a lot of mistakes. And people know this. People know this, but they turn a blind eye because they think that since they're ancient, they must be the best ones. But they are not the best ones. They are full of mistakes. So thank you for being here with us. This is your house. Be welcome. You may subscribe if you wish. You may comment. And we'll keep on posting this type of videos that may challenge your views in textual criticism. And here we try to bring up the evidence so that you may see it and that you may take a decision. Okay, so it's your decision whether you consider family 35 to be a good edition of the Greek New Testament, or if you want to stay with the Alexandrian manuscripts, that's fine with me, but they are not the best. They are the worst. Okay, so have a good day. May God bless you.